Just want to make sure I can see it. Give me 1 second. It does go live on our Facebook page, The Dani Perro Show, okay? So you're more than welcome to share it as well.
Cool.
And also our YouTube channel. Okay, so we are live. We're going to start the countdown. We'll come back to start the show. Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. Welcome to the Dani Perro Show here in our home studio tonight. We are so excited to welcome one of Michael Stover's amazing musicians and guests. Would like to also shout out that this previous month of February and March and April will be Michael Stover's guests. So I'm excited to have everyone here. We're going to start off tonight with Mr. Scotty. As we know, you're a Scotty Hollywood band, so we're excited to have you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the program. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot going on that I'm excited to talk about and, just get an idea and an understanding of exactly what you're bringing to the table as a musician, and
sure.
Especially how hard you're working with new music coming out and everything too. So we appreciate your time today.
Absolutely.
So let's start a little bit in the beginning. As we know, music is a huge part of your life, something that you did grow up listening to, probably playing as well. Did you start off playing any instruments before you started singing?
I did. I started as a drummer, and that's really my main instrument, what I'm schooled with. As a kid, I was a drummer. Throughout high school, I was a jazz drummer, and then slowly got into some bands where initially I was playing drums, and then we didn't have a singer, so I was playing the drums and singing. And then pretty soon my friends were like, we just need you out front performing and singing, so I kind of got shoved out there, but it was a great experience and kind of forced me to hone my craft and become a singer and a songwriter. And, from there, from performing and from singing, I started picking up some other instruments by ear.
Okay.
Piano and bass guitar and guitar and so forth. And songwriting became a natural progression. So, with that ability, I started, sitting down at a piano, writing some melodies. And before I knew it, I was writing some, back then, some really bad songs as you're developing. And, but soon, you kind of fall into your craft, and that's kind of how it's escalated. But I'm really qualified, Dani, to be a drummer.
Okay.
So I shouldn't tell many people that.
Why? That sounds awesome. I don't really talk to a lot of musicians that are drummers. That's a hard skill to accomplish.
It is. It takes some coordination. I truly
it looks like fun too, for sure.
Oh, it's a blast. But I truly believe that drummers can make pretty good songwriters. I mean, the Don Henleys, the Phil Collins, David Grohl, Paul McCartney actually plays drums. Mm-hmm. But I think a drummer, if they have some sense of melody and an ability to write lyrics or whatever, they have a nice idea of how a song gets put together. They know how to build a song, and they've learned all of that from playing drums. So songwriting is a natural progression, and hopefully singing is. Yeah. So that's my philosophy. You can take that with a grain of salt and a shot of tequila.
No problem, Scott. I love that. I appreciate it. Well, I'm excited for that because when you first got into, let's say, drumming, because this was something that you taught yourself. Did you go to school for it? Was it complicated at first? Was it easy then?
It was elementary school where you had to pick your instrument, and we went into a room. Your parents came in, and I wanted to play the saxophone, and they handed me a saxophone. And I went to blow into it, and nothing was happening. I couldn't make a sound. So then the guy said, well, maybe drums are your instrument. So he handed me.
So he initiated something. Yeah.
That's honestly how it started. And I loved it. I had a passion for it and a rhythm with it. from the time I was a little kid, I was always, I used to have my mom take the Quaker oatmeal, the big canisters that they used to sell it in.
You played on it?
Yeah, I'd have her dump those into like plastic bags so that I could have the empty containers, and I'd make a drum set out of it. So that, those were the early makings of drums for me.
When you were younger, which is also a lot cheaper versus what you have to pay for now.
That's right.
And more homemade and old-fashioned, do it yourself kind of thing.
Right on. Yep.
So I wanted to talk about, as we know, you're also originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Right. Yep.
And now you currently live in Colorado.
I do.
So with your transition from Pittsburgh to Colorado, where exactly did that happen as much? Was it with your acting, or was it more of your career as a musician? You know where I'm going with this.
It was actually a combination of things. It was actually, business or a day job as well. So business oriented, a great opportunity in Denver. But the second I got out to Denver, I had always acted. Like, I've always played music, always written songs, but I always acted on the side as well. So when I got out to Denver, I signed with a agency and I started doing some commercial work and some independent films. A much better market, out here on the West. And things just started chugging from there. It's been 8 years and I've been kind of running this parallel life between music and acting, which has been great.
So with the transition from Pittsburgh to Denver, was it anything to do with just your career, or was it just your job? Like, did you also obviously took your career with you, but it was more of like, did you find like more opportunity in Denver than where your hometown was? Was it not?
Absolutely. I mean, Pittsburgh is a great town. And I spent years, playing music there, acting in little movies too, but, played clubs all around Pittsburgh and played theaters and so forth in music. Pittsburgh is just a great town. It's a great music town, a great blues town, but Denver's a little bit of a different market. And I write very like pop oriented melodic stuff. And I think out here, I was embraced in Pittsburgh, but at the same time, Denver has been just as good in embracing my music and keeping my my chops going. Yeah.
And it's easy going there. It's like fun. There's a lot of like clubs, different things that you can do in Denver as you were used to do in Pittsburgh.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
or more, I should say.
Yeah, Denver is just a huge music town and almost too much. I mean, there's so many clubs, so many things to choose from in terms of, entertainment in a given night that you can go watch in clubs, in theaters, in arenas, as well as we have Red Rocks, which doesn't really suck either. So
that's awesome. Especially, I'm sure collaborations happen a lot down there too.
Absolutely, right.
Or you might be working with collaborations as we speak. I don't know any of that stuff yet.
Correct. Yeah. So, I've started working with a lot of musicians here in Denver as well as Nashville. So on my latest record that I'm promoting, I used a guitar player out of Nashville. His name is Shane Lamb. But I also use a guitar player here in Colorado Springs. His name is Steve Langemo. And these guys are just great players, very schooled players. And again, I'm a drummer that started writing songs and play a bunch of instruments by ear. I don't read music. So I work with these guys that are very schooled and it's always fun because I'll write something and give it to them and they'll say, what key is this in? And is this a diminished fifth, blah, 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 and yeah. And I always laugh and just say, I wrote this with some of the black keys and some of the white keys. That's all I can tell you.
You can't give them the real exact notes. I'm sure they can probably understand it with just
they pick it up really fast. And it's always interesting where they'll be like, that's really interesting. You did and I don't speak their language, but you did this minor or whatever. Yeah. And somehow it works out and they'll be like, that's really creative. You came up with that. And it's just always kind of like, well, it sounded good to me in my head.
So when you say that you don't like read music as much, like it's easier for you to just write, would you say that you prefer doing more of the lyrics in your songs and then you create your music with them, or you could do music with just by playing?
Man, that's a good question. You can tell that you host a music show.
Yeah, I'm trying to totally stump you. I have to do it to each guest. I'm sorry. It's the rule.
All right. I'm going to step it up a notch. Okay. So I do it kind of simultaneously. I'm constantly, like, I hike a lot in Denver, and as I'm hiking, I'm constantly thinking of melodies. I'm not saying they're all good, but I'm constantly thinking of melodies. So I have thousands of melodies in my iPhone where I'll go hiking, I'll think of a melody. If you ever see me on a trail hiking in Colorado, you see some guy singing into his phone. It's me. It's a songwriter.
Scotty.
So singing a melody into my phone. And at the same time, I'm constantly keeping books of song titles and lyrics. And it's always fun because once you take that melody that's going to progress into a song, I'll pick up a guitar, a bass guitar, sit at a piano, and start to structure the song. Ultimately, as the song starts to develop, I start going through my books of song titles, and it's kind of strange how one particular song title will kind of jump out at you as being a match for the music, the type of music that you created. Kind of hard to explain. Very much, I've always viewed it as like a real magical kind of a manifestation process of
love that.
Yeah, what you're creating. So I kind of bring it in that way. And then, I make the realization, wow, I wrote down that song title for a reason. It had to have had some meaning to me. And then from that meaning of why I wrote down that song title, the lyrics start to flow, and boom, it's just, progresses into a song.
So it just happens that easily for you. That's pretty exciting as an artist.
I'm not saying, I write for each album I put out, I probably write 30 songs. And that album ends up being a 10-song album, maybe an EP of like 5 to 7 songs.
Of the best songs that you want to release? Or ones that you're on the back burner?
It's the ones that really stand out and shine. And once you create them, record them, they end up coming into their own, where 50% of the ideas don't. I mean, they don't. It's kind of like making a team to get onto the album, and some of the songs are cut, and I, keep them in my collection. And
of course, and you might want to rework them or do something different and be like, this might be part of this one, but this needs to be fixed here a little bit, change it up, and then
exactly. So sometimes you come back to them. Sometimes they're so ingrained in your head, like the current melody and title and so forth, that it's very hard to rewrite them, but it can be done. Sometimes I do that as well. So
that's super exciting. I love that about a musician too, because it's something that you definitely want to put out there and share with the world. And it's also because as we're learning more about you and the type of music that you create and what you're putting out in the world, we'd like to also know a little bit more about some of the inspirations that you feel like help you write and perform into the world.
Inspirations, gosh, it can be anything from, when I was younger, before I was married, it was definitely a lot of songs about chicks. So it was
Who's
girls
saying chicks now? We're going back in time.
We're going back in time, yeah. So, but yeah, it was writing about girlfriends, writing about experiences. Most recently, I have a song that's on the album, the brand new album. The song is called "Human to Human," and I wrote the song during the pandemic. And the song is all about kind of how technology, like, this is great that you and I can connect,
of course,
in this mode. Video-wise. The song was kind of about the disconnection as well that takes place due to technology. The fact that we're just shooting text messages to our friend or neighbor instead of picking up a phone and really having like a good conversation. Mm-hmm. And I think I had just had it during the pandemic, like everybody had, in that we were all doing these Zoom calls, and it just became in case you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit of a people person, so I love to be, face to face with people.
That's exactly how I am. But since we have you in Colorado, this is the best we could do. If you're ever in Jersey, you're more than welcome to come to the studio.
Cool, I'm coming. Yeah.
Plus, you're more welcome, comfortable in your house. That's the other thing.
So, this particular song, "Human to Human," I think I was just kind of fed up during the pandemic, and I wrote this song about how we need to get back to the human to human thing. I mean, it's technology's great, but we really, if you have that moment of, should I send them a text or send her get on the phone and talk to them, it was an encouragement to, get back to the human experience. So to answer your question, those are kind of some of the themes that come into play that, kind of pulls at you, and you feel like there's a moment in time where you can convey what you're feeling into a song, into an emotion,
But you also want a lot of your followers and family members and friends to relate to your music. So it's easier for them to understand you as a musician, right? You also want them to be like, this song is super catchy. I can't get it out of my head. He's like, good. That's the reason why I wrote it.
That's right.
So that's how you brand yourself.
Absolutely. So and I definitely come at it from a pop hooky perspective. I love melody. I love like the Beach Boys, the Beatles, some of those old school melodic bands. I just love that, So I'm constantly trying to add those hooks, within the message, along with the messaging, to make sure you have a nice hook, a nice melody, and you're luring somebody in to listen to what you have to say. So
the next thing I'm going to say, because as we know, you're a musician, we'd like to know exactly where Scotty Hollywood Band came from, because as we know, you're Scotty Hollywood. So tell me a little bit more about this phonetic, cool function name that you put out there about yourself.
Yeah, sort of a funny thing. I my last name is Argero, and it's a Italian Greek name with a lot of vowels. So a lot of people butcher it quite a bit.
Okay. I don't even know if I mentioned it. I think I just said Scotty Hollywood just to save myself.
Yeah. So it's Scott Argero. And I put out most of my music, all of my music, under Scott Argero. For this latest album, I have some friends on the side that call me, refer to me as Scotty Hollywood, kind of as a joke.
Okay.
Like a ribbing, funny thing, because they know I do music and acting and so forth. So, but this latest record, I was like, you know what? I'm just to kind of get around the pronunciation thing, I'm going to put this out as the Scotty Hollywood Band. And it's been amazing how it's lured people in, because I think immediately you want to at least talk to me to find out, like, who the hell is this guy? Why is he calling himself the Scotty Hollywood Band?
Today?
But the good news is that I think they kind of get lured in, and then they hear the music, and it's like, oh, hopefully they think he's a serious songwriter and has some reputable stuff. So that was kind of the logic behind it. But, I act on the side and quite a bit. And I go under Scott Argero for my acting, and I have a catalog of music under Scott Argero. So I'm kind of walking these two worlds, the character and the name itself. So.
And what do we like to promote as you? We like to promote both?
I think so, because again, I have so much music that's been written under my own name that I want to make sure I'm kind of walking. It's like the John Mellencamp, John Cougar type of thing. He kind of lived in both of those worlds for a while.
So let's talk about a little bit with Scotty Hollywood, as this was like a little joke between you and your friends. When they called you that, did it feel like it was a ring? Did it feel like, wait, that actually sounds like it could be something?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's got one of those funny. It's funny. Like, it almost sounds like a Vegas performer. And
but that's exactly who I thought you were before I even listened and read your biography. Like, it branded yourself without even you branding yourself.
Yeah. Let me go put on my sequin jacket. I'll be right back. No, I think I like that it has like a little bit of it takes it lightly. It's you're not taking yourself too seriously. The music I take very seriously. If you come to see me perform, I like to have fun. I like to play with an audience, tell stories, be silly. So that kind of plays within my personality. So.
Well, I love that. I think that's awesome, especially getting to know you on the show, getting to know who you are and what your personality is as a musician. Because even as an actor, you have a different type of mind and pursue of what you want to put out there.
Correct.
As an actor, you get a certain script, what you have to keep on tabs on and learn and understand and perform, and then hopefully book the role. As a musician, you do want to book the role regardless, but it's best for exposure both ways, right? And I think
Right
that's a
on.
huge part of your career too.
Right on. You crystallized my thoughts eloquently right there.
So I'm curious though, when did the acting start in your career? Was it something that you were doing on the side of being a musician? Was it something that you looked into afterwards? Where did it seep in?
You know, it started in college, and I did a couple plays,
Okay.
in college, just nothing type of stuff. In Pittsburgh, I got picked up I got some calls about some independent films, and I did act in those. So,
Okay.
kind of as like a very side character or sometimes an extra character. When I came out here to Denver, I connected with a director that does movies, but he also does all of my music videos. So
Okay.
it's been a great working relationship. Every time I do a music video, this guy's name is Elgin Cahill, and he comes out and directs my videos. And he's really so good about understanding the particular song that I've written, the messaging behind it, and then he'll create a video that's very parallel with my vision.
So he helps create your vision.
Exactly.
Like the music videos.
Correct. At the same time, he's very involved in doing movies, so he's kind of pulled me into an agency, and I started doing, commercials. It was crazy because I was living this life of, working in a leadership role in business, and I'd hold a meeting, and then I'd slip out the back and jump in an Uber, and I'd be downtown Denver reading for like a detergent commercial. And
that sounds like so much fun.
I'd blow through the audition, and then I'd roll back to my company, and so I live these kind of parallel lives of making it all happen. But slowly, I've been pulled into some movies, which has been great. I played an evil executive in a Ridley Scott production, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
And most recently, I just got back from Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and we've been filming. I got a lead in a Christmas movie because what the world needs now, Dani, is more Christmas movies.
Is it a Hallmark movie? Hallmark?
I think it's going to be on Hallmark and some of the other streaming things. So I went out to Pagosa Springs with a cast and crew. We just had a blast. We've been there for like 5 days filming this Christmas movie.
Wow.
I play a baker in the movie.
Okay.
And the woman who comes to the bakery shop every day falls in love with the baker. Because you gotta
so you
fall in love
are
with
a lead in the movie. That's
I am.
Scott.
Yeah, you gotta fall in love with the baker because he makes bread, he makes pies, he makes cakes.
It's just it's a nice, fun, cheesy, romantic movie.
It's got that, it's got that love story vibe, and but we had a blast, and I'm opposite of an actress. Her name is Aeon Cruz. If you've heard of her before, she's been
she sounds
a bunch
familiar.
of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
She sounds familiar. Is that the love interest of you?
That's the love interest, yeah. And she's just fantastic, super talented, and she and I hit it off very well. Had a great chemistry, and just had a blast. And but we've been, the directors have had us on sleigh rides in the last couple of days, and it's been a long couple of days of like makeup at 7:30 in the morning.
Vacation. Well, not waking up early, but
Yeah. But just a great experience, and I think it's going to be a really visually, it's going to be a beautiful film. Set in this picturesque mountain town, and
like cabins. Because I think all Christmas movies have like skiing, cabins.
Right on, yeah.
Baker, cooking.
Yeah, so this really quaint mountain town where the bakery is, and that's where you go to get, she shows up every day, and I give her muffins, and they're good muffins too. And then, she runs a lodge, not to give away the movie, but she runs this beautiful lodge that we shot in. Okay. And I take her on a date, and we're out on sleigh rides, and just a beautiful, picturesque mountain town. So the movie is called Christmas Cards, and I'll keep you posted about it. It should come out right before Christmas, but now I think some of these movies come out in like August because people are so into Christmas movies now, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Hallmark is still playing them, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
if not, they're also appearing on Netflix and other digital streaming services. So if a person is just like waiting for it, you know, they're just always releasing. My mother watches Christmas movies every day.
I love it. Good. Well, good. Turn her on to this one.
Of course, we will make sure we promote it as well when it comes out. You keep us
love it.
updated. Like as soon as you get the idea or the trailer, you send it to me. You send it to Chris here on Hamilton Radio. We'll play it, promote it, have everybody tune in to whatever the heck the channel is, and be like, everybody tune in and promote this and make this huge for Mr. Scott.
I love it.
Because that's amazing, and I really would love to see it. That's so exciting.
I love it. And if you love the film, just know that that's the credit to the actors. And if you hate the film, it's the director.
But nobody should hate the film anyways. It wouldn't be. It would be the director's fault, obviously, but it'd be more of the fact that like there's something that the viewer isn't understanding about the movie. Some Christmas movies, I will just say straight up, can be very cheesy, and you can actually understand what's going on right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Some movies, you want them to pull you in, but then you want to go slow, but then they're too slow and they lose your interest. So it's like, it has to be like in the middle where it's like it has our interest. It's a little fast, but not too fast. You know what I mean? All movies are different. So
yeah, without a doubt. Well, I think we accomplished this and you know, build up a tension with this relationship until the very end where it becomes the reveal of a relationship. So
what it's going to be. That's awesome. Wow. So you're back now. Did you just come back for the show? Or were you back?
Well, I got back yesterday actually, and we're going to shoot some more scenes here in Denver and up in the mountains. So, but we're probably a month away from having it in the bag. And then I'm going to do a second one that we're negotiating right now, but I think that's called Christmas in the Cabin.
Okay.
And,
oh God, there's like 10 of those.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was just informed of that from the movie company, which was really cool.
That's exciting. Yeah. I love that you can share it today. You're allowed to share it today.
Absolutely. They took me aside after the first day and said, the producer said, I want to talk to you. And I thought, oh boy, it's, you know, they found out I'm just a drummer. I'm going home. And he was like, they've seen some, you know, dailies and they want to offer you another Christmas movie. So I'm doing a second one. So we'll see.
Perfect. Well, congratulations on the first. And
thank you.
Great to see it. And then the second one will be, I'm sure, as marvelous and magnificent as the first one. Or more. We'll see. It depends on what's in the works. So currently, September of last year, we had a new album that kind of came out for you. And if I'm not mistaken, this was Wondervoo?
Correct.
Okay. So why don't you tell me a little bit behind the theme of the album and the amazing name as well?
You bet. So the name comes from, there's a little ski resort that I go to here in Colorado. And every time I drive there, there's this tiny little town I pass through called Wondervoo.
Okay.
And it's just a small little town. But every time I've driven past, I'm like, I love that name. I got to do something with it. And sure enough, I called my record Wondervoo. So, you know, Wondervoo is a pop album, but I think it's got a lot of ambitious melody to it. Definitely has some messaging, like the Human to Human tune I talked about. Very much about connection and humanity and some of those themes. The lead-off song of Wondervoo is called "The Ricochet." Is one of the singles, and I wrote "The Ricochet" at a time where I was commuting on business just all over the country. This was actually a little after the pandemic, and was living on airplanes sometimes 5-7 days a week. Each day was in a different state or town, and literally I got to that point where they talk about, like, I'd wake up in a hotel room and the first 20 seconds I was like, I don't know where I am. Mississippi, Alabama, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So I wrote this song about it called "The Ricochet," ricocheting back and forth from Denver all over, and you'll have to check that one out. That's
just depending on where you woke up in the song. You'll be told where.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But that sounds like fun when you get the opportunity to travel a lot and you can get a chance to write it in your song. I feel like you're taking the listeners, the viewers, the friends, the family with you on the trip.
Sure.
Yeah. We're understanding what happened to the trip, what's going on next, kind of where you are at, type of thing, where it's like, it's more than a journey, because it's also a journey for yourself, right? To push yourself out there. But us on the journey with you is like us seeing where you're going next. We can kind of spot you where you're going.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's really exciting as well. Now, I'm so curious, with your amazing career, how did you meet Michael Stover?
Great question. I actually sent him some material, found him, I think, online, and sent him some material, and had read just, such great things about his company. I knew that, working with, if I got a chance to work with him, he had distribution through Sony, and I definitely wanted that. So kind of reached out to him, got him my material. We had a conversation about what I'm trying to do and stylistically and so forth.
And how he could help you.
Yeah, and he has been tremendous. The second the record came out, he had me charting in the UK. So we were on the UK charts, music in South Africa, Hungary, Portugal, just Nashville, New York. I mean, it's ran the gamut.
That's awesome.
I've done a lot of these shows quite a bit. It seems like every night I'm talking to somebody, which is great, but
you need time for yourself.
Yeah. But everybody told me, regardless of what I accomplished in my career, they kept saying, you're nothing, kid, until you're on the Dani Perro show. Once you hit the Dani Perro show, then you've made it. So
stop that. That's so sweet. You are honestly the sweetest. Thank you.
I mean it. So here I am, world. I'm on the Dani Perro show, and you're good at what you do. So thank you.
Thank you. That was so sweet. Yeah, we were actually on the radio as well, on Hamilton Radio, for everyone that's tuning in, with iHeartRadio as well. And then we're currently also Hamilton Radio. If you don't know a lot about us, we're all over the world as well. My dad has had this station since I was born. So me and my sister. He's had the station since I was born.
Yeah, that's nice.
He's right here. He's waving at you.
I love it. So there's a history there. Well, thank you, and hello, world.
Yeah, there's definitely a history there, but I want to get back to you, because as you're doing so much, right, and probably working on new music in the works, I'm sure.
I am. So,
or are we going to talk more about the acting, where that's taking up a little more time, and then the music will be on the back burner for a little bit?
No, I just keep going with it. So I have written a whole nother, as I'm promoting this record.
Another album?
I have a brand new 10-song record that is tracked. So yeah, I just my wife's always like, you need to tone it down. You need to sleep.
Well, you do need to sleep as a musician and drink a lot of water. But you already know that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I drink a lot of water and a lot of coffee and a lot of tea. But I have a 10-song record that's done. Not done. It's tracked. So I've done the drums and the bass and kind of the framework of everything. And I'm just getting to a point where, it's time to employ a guitar player and do my vocals and so forth. So probably by the spring or summer, I'll have this one in the can. What I'm really excited about, one of the tracks on the record is possibly going to make the Christmas movie that I'm acting in right now.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get the, maybe the rolling credits at the end of one of my songs, which would be really cool, yeah.
We trying to do that for the second one too? Or we want to see how the first one goes first?
We'll see, if everything works right, the second movie, the Cabin in the Woods, Christmas in the Cabin.
Cabin in the Woods is too hard for me. I'm sorry.
When I'm promoting that, I can't slip up on, anyway. I'm going to be acting with a lady who's on Broadway right now, very successful Broadway star. So she might end up getting the theme song of that one. We'll see. She's an accomplished Broadway singer.
Maybe you guys can do a collaboration.
Maybe. We'll see how well we get along in the cabin.
Chemistry.
The cabin, yeah.
Yeah, and make sure it's not Cabin in the Woods, like nobody dies.
little different, yeah. No tinsel in that one, yeah.
No Christmas in that one.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's super exciting for everything that you're doing, and kind of what also you're putting out there still. I mean, as you're being an actor, a musician, I'm sure, you're also working hard. Are you a dad as well?
I'm a dad as well. Yeah.
See, I did not know that.
I am.
You're a dad. So you're a dad, you're a musician, you're an actor. Is there anything else you do?
What else do I do?
Besides getting no sleep.
I stay very busy. Do a little golfing on the side. I'm a wannabe pilot, so I've taken some flight lessons and I've flown some planes. I love that. So,
oh my God, you should write a song about that.
I probably should. Yeah, it's a matter of time. But yeah, I stay busy and have a lot of passions, which is I think it's really important.
If we could talk a little bit about some of the music that you're putting out there in your music, like in Wonderful, as we were talking about some of the tracks that you had currently. Yep. If you could talk about some of the tracks, what would you say an person listening to the track, whether it was Human to Human or another one, would feel like they're pulling out of it? What would they get from your album?
Hopefully,
positivity.
Positivity. Yeah, I think they're going to feel a lot of. They're going to hear a lot of melody. It's going to be very hooky. So hopefully, they're going to walk away with the tune in their head, which is a win.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would also say just authenticity. I try to really deliver this stuff authentically when I'm doing the vocals, and really try to convey the emotion that I'm trying to bring across. So hopefully they're going to feel something, and hopefully I've accomplished that through the voice. It's funny, I work with a guy named Jesse O'Brien who does my production and my engineering. And as a singer, you're constantly trying to, hey, juice up that vocal or add a little reverb or double it or, whatever. And
falsetto.
Yeah. And he'll a lot of times say, Scott, you sound so organic and pure there that no, I'm not going to put anything on it. It's just the emotions there. And if I try to do any doctoring or any effect or what have you, or auto tune or any of that stuff, it's going to lose its emotion. So I think he does a really good job. And sometimes we get in some little arguments where I'm like, come on, add some reverb to that.
But he's like, he doesn't want to because it's organic. As an artist, it's better if it's organic. There's too much auto-tune out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely have I'm an untrained vocalist that's like a vocal stylist, and I have a little bit of a throaty sound and so forth. And he loves that and really tries to capture that on tape.
Okay, that's beautiful. Now, I wanted to know with some of your clips that you currently have that I think can be heard in like the filming industry, including releases from the director Joel Schumacher and Paul Lieberstein.
Yeah, so Joel Schumacher, a very famous director that he actually passed away a couple years ago, but he did a movie called 12, and that had I always get them confused. Is it Emma Watson? Not Emma Watson. Emma Roberts. Yeah, Emma Roberts, and not Macaulay Culkin, but Rory Culkin is in.
Okay, the brother.
The brother. So, but there's
another movie together. I didn't even know that.
It was called 12. Came out, maybe 10 years ago. But they used it was a movie where it was very big on ringtones at the time. Of everybody had a unique ringtone, and Rory Culkin had my song as his ringtone on his phone, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was an awesome one. Paul Lieberstein is actually the director of The Office, and
that's why it sounded familiar. I love that show.
Oh, it's fantastic, and he acted in The Office as well. So he used one of my songs for a project. He does a lot of like podcasts and things like that. So. So they're very, they're kind of small snippets of music, but when they're in the hands of people of that notoriety, definitely a good resume booster, to have those guys using your songs.
Yeah, that's That's exciting. I mean, especially because you're getting up there, right?
Yeah.
You're definitely skyrocketing if you have somebody from the office using your music, and just even it's a track or a teaser.
Absolutely. I have
to heard about it somewhere somehow.
I have to credit a buddy of mine. His name is Sean Garnhart. He's a sound effects editor in movies and films, and he's been very generous in helping me out when he comes across a director that's looking for a specific piece of music.
And he's like, you need to check this guy out.
Exactly, and Sean does great music on his own and pitches his own music, but he's very generous in terms of making sure that he pitches mine as well, and it's worked a couple of times, which has been good.
I love that. What is upcoming for your album that we're talking about with Wondervu? Were you looking to do a tour? Were you looking to do some shows around you? Did you have any upcoming events?
Right. We've been trying to assess, the interest in some of these markets. It's been widespread with some of these countries. So I've been hoping, that something would chart in Portugal would be nice, and zip over to Portugal and play some clubs or what have you. So we've been awaiting that, and as I'm doing that, I'm putting together. As I put this record together, I'm at least putting together like an acoustic set so I can go out through Denver and, Wyoming and Arizona and so forth and play some shows around here in the West.
Are you coming to Eastern anytime soon?
I might.
New Jersey, New York, Maine.
I would love to. It's not in the cards immediately, but now I know the Dani.
Hey, you can fly. You can just fly here. Borrow a plane. Fly here.
Sounds like a good invitation. Absolutely.
Yeah, because that would be exciting. If you have any shows upcoming, you could always reach out to us too, and we could have you in the studio before the event of the show, or help promote it as well.
Hey, a second booking on the Dani Perro show, I'm in.
Yeah, my father, Doc G, over here is telling me to let you know on my previous show, my name used to be the DJ Dani Show. We just changed it professionally as well. And I previously had somebody that flew in from Australia to meet me in studio.
Whoa, that's great.
That was like, oh my God, what? Situation where I was like, I can't accept this, but I have to. But I'm like, starstruck, but thank you, but hi. Like, just blows you away a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but it's really exciting because I love getting to know different artists and musicians out there. You guys all have different ways you put into your music, and it also you can feel it. And as a musician, I can tell this is something that you definitely love doing. And it truly is going to take you further in life because you know what you want to do.
Sure. Absolutely.
But you can also be doing it as an actor, and maybe in one of the roles you'll be playing the drums or something as a musician. And you don't even have to act. You already know exactly what to do. That would be a bonus for you.
That's true. And ironically, I was in a movie last year called Colorado Christmas. You can tell they're picking me up for a lot of Christmas movies.
Oh my God. But you know what? It has to be because you look like you would be a love interest. Like, not that I'm title casting you, but you do have the face where it's like, oh yeah, somebody wants to date you.
I'll receive that. In Colorado Christmas, it was actually it was a band situation, and I played the drummer in that particular thing, and my band was. Gosh, I'm going to butcher their names. Ace Young, two of the people from American Idol from the past, Ace Young and Cara DeGarmo. I hope I'm not butchering that, but two really talented people from American Idol that now do some country music, and they were in this movie, Colorado Christmas. I played their drummer. My name was Dirk Masters, of all things. So
Where
anyway.
can you find that movie? Do you know?
That's streaming. You can find it. Colorado Christmas. Look it up. I'm sure.
Is it on Netflix?
Might be.
I feel like I've heard of that sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
Maybe I watched it and didn't even realize that you were in it until now. And I'm I think I'm talking to Scott right now. Were you in Colorado Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a small part, but I just had to bring that up. You're dead spot on, man. That's exactly what I've been doing. So.
Well, I was gonna say, being a drummer, you do a lot of things behind the scenes. Do you ever feel like you'd want to look into being a director or producer, executive, anything like that behind the scenes for acting, or do you feel like you like being more on the scene?
Yeah, I love the on the scene. I'll be honest with you. I love music because I'm in control of it. I can put it out when I want to put it out. I
Yeah.
can polish it until it's ready to come out, but it's my own control. With a movie, as much as I love movies, it is a bit of a frustrating business in the time that it takes to do these scenes. And then when you're done, you just kind of wait around and it's months at a time before you see the finished product. I'm somebody that loves like an immediate, response or bring something to fruition. And you have to be very patient in the movie business.
So do you feel like when you get a role, right? Say you're reading for a role and it's something that you really want to do, you change it up a little, right? Because as an actor, you have the opportunity to change it up and make the director want you versus everyone else that's auditioning. So if you got that role from the way that you changed it up, would you want to change it up the way that you auditioned, or would you keep it the way that it was? Probably just confused the crap out of you.
No, that's interesting. That I think so many things go into that. So, with my most recent one, I just to be face to face with my love interest in the movie. You have to kind of vibe that actress and see what the chemistry is and really understand.
Right? You take a big toll where you're playing on both parts, on the love
Exactly.
interest, on yourself, and then probably the director. And I'm sure there's a
Absolutely.
lot of ad lib too, where it's going to be not off the scene, but it'll be something that's part of your chemistry, so you guys can remember and understand everything.
Exactly. It's really getting into that vibe of the actresses, taking notation from the director with this particular shoot, cast and crew standing around us and somebody's with the script and they're making sure that you're hitting the lines verbatim. But there was a lot of freedom in this one where we would finish a scene and I would check with the script holder, like, did I nail it? Did I get everything? And I would embellish a couple of words or what have you, but they loved that I hit all the points. So they were flexible, flexible enough to allow you to add your own flair to it. So, and that's putting your own emotion and personality into it, which is.
And sometimes when you audition for things, they don't let you do that, right? They want you to just be stern and read for whatever it is. And I mean, some are stricter, some are nicer. It just depends who you're, I guess, auditioning for. What company?
Yeah. I've got a funny story about that. So I went on a soap detergent commercial, a read, an audition, and my agent, before I walked in, she said, "This director might ask you after you finish your lines. He might ask you to do it in a British accent." But she said, if you do not feel confident with a British accent or you don't do one, she said, just decline and keep it in, your standard dialect. So I go in this room and I have a whole family behind me that's acting as my family. And I'm reading the lines of this detergent commercial. And there's a bunch of people in the room, probably 20 people that I'm reading for. And some of them are on laptops. And I did my lines. I think I delivered it pretty well. And then the director immediately said, "Okay, Scott, we're going to do this one in a British accent. Go." And
that threw you off.
I was thrown right into it. And I went into a British accent, but it was the worst British accent. I sounded like Mick Jagger or Spinal Tap or something, to a point where a couple of the people looked up from their laptops like, is this guy serious? Is he really, so.
Well, it's because you didn't have time to transition that quickly, right?
Or I didn't have time to decline and say, hey, I don't do a British accent. He was just like, go do it. So anyway, I didn't get that role of the detergent, mainly because of my Mick Jagger impression, so.
You probably scared them. They're like, not again.
I think so.
You know what? Having an idea and an audition for a detergent definitely puts you up there because you have all these auditions. You probably still can audition even though you're in other movies. You just have to work around your schedule and stuff. But always having an audition you can go to or one that you can book, that's like an accomplishment for you.
Sure.
Even, being a musician, because as a musician, you're booking goals and gigs, but you're doing it differently as an actor. So just different focuses.
Yeah, it's different focuses. And, it's an industry that you have to know that there's rejection, and you're not going to be right for everything, and you've got to take each of these auditions as a exercise, nothing more. You're just going in to show them how you would do it, and then they have to make that determination. Does that fit with their vision or not? And then you have to move on. You can't cry in the Uber on the way back to the office. So.
Oh no. Well, have you ever had a situation with that? Have you ever been declined on something and it actually affected you? Like it hurt you?
Not so much.
Okay.
I just I take it with a grain of salt, and
Positive.
it's interesting.
Eventually, it will hurt you if you don't, because it's something that.
Absolutely. But it is wild that the ones that you never think you got or you did well are the ones that call you back, and the ones you think you nailed, nothing. So
that's true.
Yeah,
I've heard that before. As an actor, I understand that completely too. So,
but I'll say it again: I'm qualified to be just a drummer, so I'm okay with all of it. So
we need to get you in a movie now where you could just drum with like a musician, like work behind one of the famous musicians. Who would you want to work with as a musician?
Oh man, there's so many people. Yeah, I'm a huge Paul McCartney fan. I would love to meet him, play with him, what have you. I'd love to play with John Mayer.
Okay, that was in your bio too. I think you said a lot of people refer you guys to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob Thomas is somebody I get compared to. There's one cat, Lindsey Buckingham, the guitarist from Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
I think he's brilliant as a guitar player. I mean, he's somebody that's so melodic and so forth. I would love to work with Lindsey Buckingham if he's listening out there.
He's drummer, yeah.
Yeah, if he's listening, maybe he'll produce a record for me. It'd be my dream come true, because he's just, anything he does is just phenomenal.
Well, as you were saying a little bit before on the show about manifestation, when you're on my show, that's exactly what you're doing. So you might have just put your dream out there. Wait and see what happens.
There you go. Lindsey, call me. I'm here. I'll be right at the phone. I'm right here, Lindsey.
Well, Scott, I have to say it's been amazing having you. Really is. I wish you so much luck, especially with the movies that are coming out and in the works. And I can't wait for many more to come. As for your new album, Wondervoo, when you do get a chance, either or Michael as well, you guys can send us the tracks. We would like to play them on Hamilton Radio, just so we can also share them with the world, so everybody can understand who you are as an artist.
That's great.
Like I said, I really appreciate having you today. You giving me the time, drinking your tea, relaxing, having a down to earth conversation. But that's the type of show that I have, and I'm glad that you get the chance to be a part of it.
I love it. Well, Dani, you're awesome. And now I have experienced the Dani Perro show. I can move on with my life and feel good about myself. I've made it. I've gotten there.
You have. And who knows, you might come back. We're probably going to have you back for the movie. We might have to have you back for the movie. So
I'd love to come back. I'll bring popcorn and we can screen it together. It's going to be a good time, Dani. Get ready.
I love it. Well, look, Scott, we really appreciate having you. I appreciate the time. If you can at this time, I want you to give out your social media. And if you have like a website or anything as well, just for people to find you that are tuning in.
Sure. If you go to thescottyhollywoodband.com, that's the website. That'll drive you to most things. But my name is Scott Argiro, Argiro. And you can go on YouTube and find me in that respect. And lots of videos, lots of, might even find some acting roles and so forth. So look me up, Facebook, Instagram, website, and I would love anybody that wants to take the ride with us to do so. And
collaborate-wise, anyone can email you too?
Absolutely. Send me an email. It's scott.argiro, Argiro @gmail.com.
Very original.
There you go.
Well, Scott, thank you so much. We really appreciate having you here on the Dani Perro Show. Make sure you tune in every Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Dani. Appreciate it.
Hang around, Scott. Give me 1 second.
You bet.